the South Downs National Park. I am somewhere near Kingston. I'm not being vague, I genuinely don't know which hill I'm on. However, I've got a windmill that way, I've got Brighton and Hove Albion Stadium that way. Today we are photographing some great winter conditions on those South Downs. We don't tend to get buckets of snow here, so take this and assume it's a good winter condition.
As the name suggests, this national park is situated in the south of England, running parallel to the coast. And today we are based about 3 miles northeast of Brighton.
We have Kingston just up by that windmill, which is Ashcombe Windmill, and we have a lovely kind of ridge of the South Downs, and over the other side you get some tremendous views. But today I really wanted to focus on that windmill as I get the silhouette of it. As we swing round here, as you can see, it has been snowing a little bit, not vast amounts. We've parked the car over 2 or 3 fields, which I've just walked over. Actually, it's the same road as the Brighton and Hove Albion Stadium. It's just a little bit further up.
In order to make any sense of this scene, I needed to pop on a long lens and go in fairly tight. What you're currently seeing is shot at 100mm, but as soon as we start going in, that's when you start eradicating stuff from this scene and it makes a lot more sense.
If I tighten in, obviously immediately I eradicate that. I can get some focus on that windmill. I'm still liking some of those clouds there. It's not a central composition, but it's too wide. So what I'm going to have to do is make use of those lines that are going into the foreground of that picture. I can go in a lot tighter, clearly. Quite a lot tighter I can. Oh, very exciting. And then place it somewhere different. Hello, birds.
I visited this location a few days beforehand on a glorious frosty morning where the impressive clouds promised snow as they framed the silhouette of the mill. I really did need to ensure that I was low enough for the tower and blades to break the horizon, otherwise it just got lost in the background of the South Downs. Well, this snowy morning I had none of that delicious cloud, but what I did have was some interesting patterns in the sky that I had to make use of because nothing else was kicking off anywhere.
The sun is definitely rising to the right of this shot here. So hopefully it shouldn't be long before I can start really honing in on that windmill. Come on, sun, don't hide behind all of that cloud, please. The downside of photographing in the winter is whilst you're waiting for something to happen, you get really cold. So over trousers, thermals, coffee, all essential part of your kit, I believe. It just seems an interminable wait when you get cold. So try not to let yourself have that. Still waiting, still cold. Well, it's now 8:30. I have 3 hours until I start work, and quite looking forward to picking out some shots as we go back up the hill. It's going to take me about an hour to get home. I may have got here a bit too early. I may have got out of bed about 5:30 and dragged somebody over here. He may not be very happy right now. It's fun being married to me. Right, I think we're lucky. We've got a break in the cloud, and what I'm looking to do is to get the edges of the hills, I'm hoping I'm pointing at the right place, to actually be kissed by the morning sun. I like that. Might keep that in. I'm going to call me an optimist, but I seem to think there's a little bit of light starting to kiss the hill. It's going to happen. It has to. It just has to.
Having waited for the light to do its thing, I knew I was cutting it fine if I wanted to capture something from a higher angle. Now, the shot that I showed you earlier where the mill blended in a little bit too much was taken from here on the earlier visit when there was just flat light. Today, well, today was a very different story. Oh boy, do I have light.
Right now I've got the sun picking out the windmill nicely. The downside is that the windmill is no longer isolated. It's got a hill behind it, so swings and roundabouts, see what we can do. Thankfully, The geared head's going to rescue me a bit today. So I'm going to do, I think it's going to be a vertical, but we'll have a look at this for now. I'm going to focus on the windmill. I will put it on f16. I will then take it down lower just to see if the if it does affect kind of image quality and things like that. I think f16, I was told recently, is really not an amazing one to put it on. I'm saying that because I seem to overly rely on f16 for full depth of field and focus. Right. Going vertically, I had an interesting concept. It didn't work out in actuality. There's a road that sweeps around in front of the camera here, and one side of it is really quite snowy. The other side isn't, and it just looks like a brown lump. So I've decided to completely eradicate that, go in at a full 400 and see what I can get. The light on the hills, on the downs right over the other side, kind of heading towards Eastbourne, is really quite nice right now, whereas actually the foreground is a bit in shadow, but at least I've got balance in there. So what I'm currently shooting on is f11, focused on the windmill. I've got 3 trees having a leading line on the right hand side, and we'll just see how it goes. A 60th of a second, ISO 100. Hopefully that won't be too shabby. No wind, so I don't have to put a huge long timer on. Actually, the sun is picking out really quite nicely a couple of areas, that windmill and just behind it, and I've got about all those bales of hay that haven't been brought in, looking really dark in contrast behind it. Right, do a few more of these, crack on home and see what we've got on the computer. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have enjoyed what you've seen, and if you have discerned value, if you could give it a like or subscribe, it would really help the channel. In the meantime, I hope you have a happy new year and see you in 2023.